There's a quiet discipline that draws a hard line between people who actually accumulate wealth and people who scratch their heads wondering why their bank account never grows. It shows up on a schedule. Once a month, every month, no excuses. Miss it a handful of times and you'll find yourself so far off course financially that getting back on track starts to feel unrealistic. I'm talking about something that demands no more than half an hour of your time, costs you absolutely $0, and carries more weight on your financial future than your job title, your portfolio returns, or any money tip you've ever stumbled across online. The majority of people never bother with it. But the people who commit to it without fail, they end up financially independent while everybody else keeps grinding away, confused about why nothing ever seems to improve. My name is Nora, and I've spent years watching people struggle with money, not because they don't earn enough, but because of one specific gap in how they manage what they already have. The difference between those who quietly build lasting wealth and those who stay stuck despite decent incomes nearly always traces back to this single monthly habit. If you're tired of working hard and feeling like you're running in place financially, or you're simply ready to understand the habit that turns ordinary earners into financially free people, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and tap the like button if what you're hearing today is actually useful to you. Here's the reality most people won't face. The majority of individuals treat their personal finances like a sealed box. Paychecks arrive, expenses go out, and there's this persistent background hum of knowing they should be saving more, but they're never quite sure where the money actually disappears to. They'll peek at their checking account now and then, maybe panic a little when a big bill hits, perhaps scan a credit card statement with a vague sense of guilt before clicking away. But they never dedicate real, focused time to sitting down with the full picture, examining everything that moved through their financial life over the past 30 days, and then making intentional choices about the next 30. This is exactly why people earning $60,000 a year feel just as financially squeezed as people earning $30,000. It's why six-figure earners somehow find themselves living paycheck to paycheck. Income isn't the variable that separates the financially free from the financially stuck. The variable is whether you are actively steering your money with intention or passively watching it vanish into thin air. And the bridge between active control and passive hoping is a personal, monthly financial check-in, a dedicated session where you examine everything, recalibrate your approach, and confirm that you're actually advancing toward your goals, rather than simply treading water. Let me walk you through exactly what this monthly habit looks like in practice, and why choosing to skip it will quietly wreck your financial future, even if everything else you're doing seems right. During the first week of each month, you need to carve out somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes on your calendar. This isn't flexible. It doesn't happen when you feel inspired or when you happen to remember. It happens every single month like clockwork. You sit down and you do a full financial review. Here's what that actually includes. Step 1. Open every account where your money lives, your everyday checking account, your savings accounts, your credit cards, your brokerage and investment accounts, your retirement fund, every single one. Write down the current balance of each, not because you're about to make any immediate moves, but because you need the complete truth of your financial situation laid out in front of you. Most people are operating in partial blindness. They have a rough sense of what's in their checking account and a vague awareness of some credit card debt, but they've never looked at everything simultaneously and done the math to see whether they're gaining ground or losing it. So you write it all down. Checking, $2,300. Savings, $8,000. Credit card 1, $3,200 owed. Credit card 2, $1,800 owed. Student loan balance, $18,000 remaining. Retirement account, $45,000. Investment account, $12,000. Whatever your actual numbers are, you write them out. Then you do the arithmetic. Everything you own minus everything you owe gives you your net worth. That number is your scoreboard. It tells you factually and without emotion whether you're winning or losing at the money game. Here's why this step hits differently than people expect. Most individuals genuinely have no idea whether they're making progress. They might feel reasonably okay because bills are getting paid. They might feel anxious because of some unexpected expense, but they're navigating based on feelings, not facts. When you record your net worth every single month, the fog clears. Did it rise? Then what you're doing is working. Did it fall? Something needs to shift. Without this monthly measurement, you could be quietly sliding into financial trouble for months before realizing how serious things have become. Step 2. Go through every single transaction from the past 30 days. Every dollar in, every dollar out. This is the step where most people bail out because it sounds painfully dull and they'd rather not see what they actually spent on. But this is also where all the leverage lives. You cannot manage money you refuse to look at. If your spending is never reviewed, it's never truly managed. You're just hoping the math works out in your favor. Pull up your bank statements and credit card records and move through them line by line. Drop the judgment. Skip the guilt spiral. Just observe. You spent $120 at sit-down restaurants last month, $60 at coffee shops, $280 on groceries, $45 on subscription services, $350 on entertainment. Whatever your real numbers are, organize them into categories: food, transportation, housing, utilities, entertainment, miscellaneous, whatever reflects your actual life. This process eats up maybe 20 minutes when you do it monthly. Trying to reconstruct a full year's worth of spending would take hours, which is precisely why most people never do it at all. But tackled monthly, it starts revealing patterns that are completely hidden when you're living day to day. You discover you've been spending $400 a month on dining out, and you genuinely didn't register it because it's $20 here, $30 there, and it never feels significant in the moment. You notice you've been paying for 3 streaming services you rarely open. You catch $200 worth of online purchases that felt necessary at the time, but you can barely recall buying. These discoveries are genuinely valuable, not as reasons to feel bad about yourself, but as factual data. You're putting $400 a month toward restaurants. That's $4,800 a year. Is that trade-off worth it to you? Maybe it absolutely is. Maybe dining out is a genuine, meaningful source of joy in your life and you're glad to allocate that money toward it. Fantastic, keep it. But maybe you'd rather have $4,800 sitting in an investment account compounding toward your future. The monthly review gives you the power to actually decide consciously and deliberately rather than just having money evaporate without your input. This is the core gift of the monthly check-in. You transition from someone things happen to, financially, into someone who makes deliberate choices. Most people never actually decide where their money goes. They earn it, spend it on whatever feels pressing or enjoyable in the moment, and then wonder why there's nothing left. The monthly review forces you to confront the gap between what you believe you're doing with your money and what you're actually doing with it. Once you've gone through your spending, you compare it against your budget. And yes, a budget is required. Not some joyless restrictions plan that squeezes every ounce of pleasure out of your life, but a simple, intentional framework where you've decided ahead of time roughly how much you want flowing into each area of your life. Say you planned for $300 on dining out, but actually spent $400. That's fine. It's just data. Now you have a clear choice. Adjust the budget to align with reality, or adjust your behavior to align with the budget. Without the monthly review, you'd keep spending $400 while assuming you're spending $300, and you'd keep being baffled by why your savings targets never quite hit. Here's the behavioral pattern that consistently separates wealth builders from everyone else. People who accumulate real wealth treat their budget as a living, breathing document, something reviewed and updated every single month. People who stay financially stuck either have no budget at all or they wrote one out years ago and haven't touched it since. Your budget isn't meant to be created once and followed in perpetuity. It's meant to be adjusted monthly based on what actually happened and what's on the horizon. Gas prices climbed and transportation costs ran over? Adjust. You spent less on entertainment during a busy stretch at work? Redirect that surplus into savings. The monthly review is where these recalibrations happen, where your plan stays connected to your real life instead of becoming an irrelevant document that bears no resemblance to how you actually live. Now, here's the component that produces the most dramatic long-term impact. After reviewing your accounts, your spending, and your updated budget, you make one focused decision about your savings rate. Every month, you look at how much you actually saved or invested, and you ask yourself one question. Can I nudge this number up, even a small amount? Not doubling it overnight, not making some dramatic, unsustainable leap, just inching it forward by 1 or 2%. Say you're currently saving 8% of your income. That's genuinely solid. Most people aren't saving anything consistent at all. But during your monthly review, you notice you came in under budget on entertainment. Instead of letting that extra money dissolve into vague spending next month, you raise your automatic savings transfer by 1%. Now you're saving 9%. Almost nobody would feel the practical difference of 1% less available in their checking account. But that small shift, repeated over time, compounds into something substantial. This is the path to building wealth without it feeling like self-deprivation. You're not sprinting from 0 to 20% savings in a single month. You're just adding 1% every few months consistently during your monthly review. Across a single year, you've moved from saving 8% to saving 14%. In 2 years, you're at 20%, and you got there so gradually that it never felt like a dramatic sacrifice. The mechanism only works, though, if the monthly review is actually happening. Without it, you never create those incremental pushes. You save whatever you save and cross your fingers that it adds up to something meaningful. With it, you're actively engineering your savings rate upward month by month, and that engineering is what produces financial freedom. Let me make this concrete with a real comparison. Meet two people, Sarah and Monica. Both are 28 years old, both earning $55,000 a year. Sarah holds a monthly money check-in with herself on the first Sunday of every month. Monica thinks about money reactively when a bill stresses her out, but never commits to a structured review session. At the start of the year, both are saving 5% of their income, about $230 monthly. February arrives. Sarah's review reveals she's spending $150 monthly on subscription services she's barely using. She cancels the ones not adding real value and bumps her savings rate to 6%. Monica keeps paying for all the same subscriptions because she's never done the math to realize what they're costing her annually, because she's never sat down to look. April. Sarah gets a 3% raise, and during her monthly check-in, she makes a deliberate choice. She increases her savings rate to 8% before the raise disappears into expanded spending. Monica gets the same raise, but without a monthly review to intercept it. Lifestyle inflation absorbs every extra dollar, and she's still saving 5%. July. Sarah's review flags that takeout and delivery have been running around $300 monthly. She decides that number doesn't align with her values, commits to cooking more at home, and redirects $150 per month into investments, bringing her savings rate to 10%. Monica is still ordering food constantly and has no idea what it's costing her annually because she's never sat down to look. By December, Sarah is saving 12% of her income through a combination of cutting leaks she identified and making small, deliberate increases whenever her review revealed surplus capacity. Monica is still at 5%. Nothing has ever pushed her to find the leaks in her budget or intentionally escalate her savings rate. Over that first year, Sarah saved approximately $6,000. Monica saved around $2,700. That's a gap of $3,300 from identical salaries, and the only thing that created the difference was a monthly review. The numbers get more striking over time. Into year 2, Sarah keeps running her monthly check-ins, keeps finding small improvements, and reaches 15% savings. Monica, with no tracking system in place, actually sees her savings rate drift lower as spending creeps upward. By year 5, Sarah is saving 20% of her income and has built a meaningful financial foundation. Monica is still financially frustrated despite earning more than ever because she never took deliberate ownership of where her money goes. The monthly review produces a compounding effect that extends well beyond the direct dollars saved. Every single month you go through the process, you get slightly sharper at managing money. You start recognizing patterns automatically. You start making smarter instinctive decisions because you've trained your brain to think about money with intention rather than impulse. You begin spotting opportunities to save and invest that would have completely slipped past you before. These skills build on themselves. After a few years of monthly reviews, you're operating at a genuinely different financial level than someone who never developed the habit. There's one more element to the monthly review that carries enormous value, possibly more than the numbers themselves. You check in on your financial goals. You set a target at the start of the year to save $15,000. Your April review shows you're on pace for $12,000 at your current rate. Now do you know, with 4 months of data and 8 months still ahead, that you need to find an additional $250 per month to close that gap? Without the monthly check-in, you'd arrive at December with $12,000 saved, feel disappointed, and not understand why. But you also wouldn't have had the window during the year to make the correction. The monthly review gives you constant, real-time visibility into your goal trajectory, whether you're running ahead, behind, or right on pace. And with that visibility, you can act. Cut spending somewhere, generate extra income on the side, recalibrate the goal to reflect reality. The only requirement is that you're checking in regularly enough to catch the drift while there's still time to respond. The final 5 minutes of your monthly review are spent doing something concrete and forward-looking. You visualize your financial future, not in some vague, wishful way, but with hard numbers and honest reflection. Look at your current net worth. Project forward 5 years at your current savings and investment rate. Ask yourself whether that projected number feels like a future you're genuinely working toward, or one that quietly terrifies you. If the projection excites you, you're on the right track. Keep going. If it scares you, that discomfort is information, and it's pointing directly at something that needs to change today, not eventually. Most people never do this exercise. They drift through their financial lives with a background assumption that things will sort themselves out somehow. Then they reach their mid-40s with minimal savings and start asking themselves what went wrong. The monthly review prevents that drift by forcing you to confront your real financial trajectory every single month. Not annually, not whenever things get bad enough to demand attention, every month. You can't maintain comfortable denial when the numbers are right in front of you on a monthly basis. And that consistent, slightly uncomfortable confrontation is precisely what motivates the choices necessary to actually build wealth, rather than just intending to. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you are not conducting a monthly financial review, you are falling behind. It doesn't matter how much you make. It doesn't matter if you're contributing to a retirement plan or if there's a budget document saved somewhere on your laptop. If you are not sitting down monthly to examine what happened, recalibrate your strategy, and actively manage your forward progress, you are losing ground to the people who are doing exactly that. They are trimming financial waste every month, while yours accumulates quietly. They're pushing their savings rates upward while yours flatlines. They're identifying and resolving small problems before they compound into large ones while yours are quietly growing in the background. The gap between the person who reviews monthly and the person who doesn't starts as something modest, maybe a few $100s per month, but stretched over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, that gap becomes a canyon. The reviewer has built genuine wealth through thousands of small, deliberate optimizations made over time. The non-reviewer has watched that same money evaporate through thousands of small, invisible leaks they never once stopped to examine. And here's what makes this particularly difficult to accept. The monthly review takes 30 to 60 minutes. That's it. Are you genuinely telling yourself that 30 minutes once a month isn't available to you for the single activity most responsible for your long-term financial outcome? You'll spend 3 hours scrolling a phone on a random Tuesday, but you can't carve out 30 minutes once a month to review the financial system that shapes every other area of your life. That is the precise reason people stay financially stuck despite working hard and earning decent incomes. So, here's the choice sitting in front of you right now. You can continue doing what you've been doing, which for most people is either nothing or something close to it in terms of active financial management. You can keep wondering where the money disappeared to. You can keep carrying low-level financial stress without clearly understanding why. You can keep telling yourself it'll all work out eventually. And in 10 years, you will be in approximately the same financial position you're in right now, possibly worse, because inflation and gradual lifestyle creep will have chipped away at whatever progress you thought you were making. Or you can start today, not at the beginning of next month, not after your next paycheck hits. Today, open your calendar and block the first Sunday of every month. Sit down and go through the whole process. Record your net worth, review every transaction, recalibrate your budget, nudge your savings rate upward, check your goal trajectory, run the 5-year projection. Then, close the laptop and go live your life, knowing that you've just done the one financial activity that most people are either too disorganized or too avoidant to do. In 12 months, the shift in your financial situation will be noticeable. In 5 years, you'll be building real wealth, while people around you who skipped this practice are still confused and frustrated, asking what your secret is. There is no secret. It's 30 minutes a month of honest, deliberate financial attention, the kind most people are either too distracted or too uncomfortable to give. That's the line. That's the actual difference between building wealth and staying broke. Show up monthly or keep falling behind.